So the questions I'm going to be answering in this video are: what does your typical working day look like? How do you get your pictures of Mars? And what is the weather like on Mars? So in terms of what my typical day looks like, I think it's appropriate to take off my nice spacey background to show you. Choose virtual background and take it away. So because of COVID, I've been working at home as well, like you might have been doing at school. So I've had to have my office is my bedroom. So this is my three-legged cat, Europa. This is my very large Maine Coon mix cat called Ganymede, and they tend to join me for work. So I'm hoping I can give you a quick tour of how I target the HiRISE camera by sharing my desktop with you. On this, I've got a picture of Mars. I use a map projected image of Mars, which looks quite different compared to the globe of Mars that you're probably used to seeing, like this image. So if you have a map projected version, just imagine that the surface of Mars has been ripped off and then you're trying to push it down onto a flat piece of paper. So this is the image of Mars that I start with, and I check the weather, because if I'm going to be taking photos from a spacecraft orbiting Mars, I need to make sure I'm not taking a picture of cloud or dust. Now, the weather doesn't change much on Mars. We don't see rain, we don't have particularly sunny days, but we do have a lot of dust and wind. So the days are generally dusty and windy. What we do see sometimes is global dust storms, and that really messes with our imaging. You can see the difference between a relatively clear day on Mars on the left and a global dust storm on the right. So let's have a zoom in here. I'll zoom in and recenter around Valles Marineris. After I've checked the weather to make sure that there's not a dust storm getting in my way, I then use the ground track of the spacecraft. The ground track, shown here by these yellow lines and the blue lines, that is the path on the ground that the spacecraft is flying over. So I get the ground tracks for the spacecraft for the next week. And if it's flying over this area here, it means I can get a picture. I can tell the spacecraft to slew to the side, so to turn to the side, so that I can image over here as well. If we zoom in again, you can still see the ground track there as my yellow line, and then the dark blue rectangles are places where we already have an image. The light blue rectangles are where somebody has asked me to get an image, and you can see my cursor there. And my ground track crosses one of those suggestion boxes. So I can recenter and I can choose to add my image there. Once I've planned my images, I need to pay attention to my data volume. Every time I take an image, this blue line goes up. That shows that I have more and more images inside the computer of the spacecraft, and eventually it will get full. So I need to keep this blue line beneath the red line that you see at the top of the image. Otherwise, I can't take any more photos. I also need to pay attention to spacecraft temperatures, which is this window over here. And I just make sure that we're not imaging when it's too cold, because that gives us poor quality images. But I can't get too hot, otherwise the spacecraft will shut itself down to protect its wiring. And I don't want to be responsible for shutting the spacecraft down. Anyone in the world can make a suggestion for an image that we can then take of Mars. So if any of you would like to do that, if you wanted to get together as a class and do it, or do it at home, please come to the University of Arizona HiRISE HiWish website and just log in and tell me which part of Mars you'd like a picture of.